Your mindfulness is an art of living. When you are mindful, you are fully alive, you are fully present. You can get in touch with the wonders of life that can nourish you and heal you. And you are stronger, you are more solid in order to handle the suffering inside of you and around you. When you are mindful, you can recognize, embrace, and handle the pain, the sorrow in you and around you to bring relief. And if you continue with concentration and insight, you'll be able to transform the suffering inside and help transform the suffering around you.
And, this word miracle on the surface is quite intriguing when what you're describing is so organic. I mean, it's getting in touch with your breath, first of all. Does that word, or does this phrase, the miracle of mindfulness, does that come out of your Buddhist training, or was that a phrase that came to you?
It is in my heart when I use it, because when you breathe in, your mind comes back to your body, and then you become fully aware that you are alive, that you are a miracle, and everything you touch could be a miracle. The orange in your hand, the blue sky, the face of a child, everything become a wonder. And in fact, they are wonders of life that are available in the here and the now. And you need to breathe mindfully in and out in order to be fully present and to get in touch with all these things. And that is a miracle, because you understand the nature of the suffering. You know the role of suffering, that suffering play in life. And you are not trying to run away from suffering anymore, and you know how to make use of suffering in order to build peace and happiness. It's like growing lotus flowers. You cannot grow lotus flowers on marble. You have to grow them on the mud. Without mud, you cannot have a lotus flower. Without suffering, you have no ways in order to learn how to be understanding and compassion. That's why my definition of the kingdom of God is not a place where suffering is not, where there is no suffering.
The kingdom of God?
Yeah, because I would not like to go to a place where there is no suffering. I would not like to send my children to a place where there is no suffering, because in such a place, they have no way to learn how to be understanding and compassionate. And the kingdom of God is a place where there is understanding and compassion, and therefore suffering should exist.
And that's quite different from some religious perspectives, which would say that the kingdom of God is a place where we've transcended suffering or moved beyond it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And suffering and happiness, they are both organic, like a flower and garbage. If the flower is on her way to become a piece of garbage, and the garbage can be on her way to becoming a flower.
Right.
That is why you are not afraid of garbage. I think we have suffered a lot during the 20th century. We have created a lot of garbage. There was a lot of violence and hatred and separation. And we don't know how to handle the garbage that we have created. And then we would have a chance to create a new century for peace. That is why now it's very important for us to learn how to transform the garbage we have created into flowers.
Vietnamese Zen master and poet Thich Nhat Hanh. He's known for his concept of being peace, assuming a compassionate, peaceful presence with tangible effect on the world. I look at at the violence that marked the world in the period when you were a young monk. There was the Cold War. I mean, there was a certain kind of violence and hostility. A lot of that has changed, has gone away, a lot of the terrible threats and the sources of the worst fighting. And now in its place we have new kinds of wars and new kinds of enemies. I'd be really interested in, as you look at this period of your lifetime, is there any qualitative difference between the violence that we have now and the violence that we had then? Is there anything like progress happening, or is it the same pattern that repeats itself?
You are right. It's the same patterns, the pattern that repeats itself.
And does that make you despair?
No, because I noticed that are people who are capable of understanding that, who have enough enlightenment. And if only they come together and offer their light and show us the way, there is a chance for transformation and healing.
You know, in a retreat like this, you've gathered around you hundreds of people who are offering themselves up as individuals to this kind of training and mindfulness, and there's, you know, you're not just talking about peace here. There's a sense of peace. But then the cynical question would be, can these individuals make a difference? You know, it seems like we live in an age of collective violence, collective terror, and collective acts of retribution. How do you see the effect of this work that you do?
Well, peace always begins with yourself as an individual. And as an individual, you may help building a community of peace. That's what we try to do. And when your community of a few hundred people knows the practice of peace and brotherhood, and then you can become the refuge for many others who come to you and profit from the practice of peace and brotherhood. And then they will join you. And the community get larger and larger all the time. And the practice of peace and brotherhood will be offered to many other people. That is what is going on.
And you experience that to be
Yes,
happening.
because when I came to the West, I was all alone. And I was aware that I had to build a community. And there was no Buddhist at all at that time. So I worked with non-Buddhist people. And I suggest the practice of mindful breathing, mindful walking, mindful sitting. And slowly we built a community of practice. We even have communities in the Middle East consisting of Israelis and Palestinians.
Right, I saw that you were bringing Israelis and Palestinians together at Plum Village.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is your teaching any different if you're speaking to members of Congress, or you're speaking to Hollywood filmmakers, or you're speaking to law enforcement officers?
The practice would be the same, but we need friends to show us how a certain group of people live their life, what kind of suffering and difficulties they encounter in their life, so that we can understand. And after that, only after that, we could offer the appropriate teaching and practice. That is why we continue to learn every day with our practice and sharing.
Some of the things you've said about the war on terror, you used the word forgiveness right away, and I don't think that was a word that was anywhere in our public discourse in this country. But I also heard you this morning when you were speaking with the group talking about the responsibility of everyone for policies, global policies. Say some more about that, about what role individuals have to play even in something like the war on terror from your perspective.
The individual has to wake up to the fact that violence cannot end violence. That only understanding and compassion can neutralize violence. Because with the practice of loving speech and compassionate listening, we can begin to understand people and help people to remove the wrong perceptions in them. because these wrong perceptions are at the foundation of their anger, their fear, their violence, their hate. And listen deeply. You might be able to remove the wrong perception you have within yourself concerning you and concerning them. So the basic practice in order to remove terrorism and war is the practice of removing wrong perceptions, and that cannot be done with the bombs and the guns. And it is very important that